Before we dive in, viewer discretion is advised. This content is for entertainment purposes. The studio glows under the harsh warmth of morning lights. Cameras. A makeup artist smooths the edge of a collar one last time. Behind the glass, a producer counts down, and laughter flutters through the air like nervous birds. Another day on Good Morning America. Polished, bright, predictable. Denzel Washington sits at the center of it all. Composed, posture straight, a quiet force wrapped in a navy suit that catches every glint of the lights. Hands rest lightly on his lap. Calm/collected, ready to speak about the work, the craft, the heart behind his new film. There's a dignity in his stillness, a presence that commands attention without asking for it. Across from him, Michael Strahan slides into his chair with practiced ease. Broad smile, confident gestures, the effortless charm of a man who knows the camera loves him. His laugh rings slightly too loud. His jokes land a fraction too early. For a moment it feels like any other celebrity segment. Small talk, light banter, before the serious stuff. But something feels off. You can almost feel it, the lights tightening on the room, the temperature creeping under the surface of those smiles. All right, people, let's keep this tight, Strahan says lightly to a crew member adjusting his mic. A pause, then a small, nervous joke. We don't want Denzel waiting on us, right? Polite laughter rolls from the crew. Denzel gives a courteous smile, a kind you give when you've heard this before. The control room crackles, and we're live in 5. The countdown hums like a ticking clock. Denzel adjusts his sleeve, takes a slow, deliberate breath. Strahan leans forward, eyes sharp, smile polished. On camera, it will look like a casual morning exchange. 2 men talking movies over coffee. What no one yet feels is the subtle shift beneath the surface, the tremor in the host's tone, the flicker behind his charm, a pride just a little too careless. The cameras roll, the lights blaze. Denzel's voice is low, even. Strahan's smile doesn't waver, but his eyes calculate. You could swear Denzel notices. A stillness settles over him, the kind that comes from decades spent in rooms just like this. The audience claps on cue. Strahan throws a glance at the camera, that trademark grin spreading. The segment begins. Everything looks perfect. Everything sounds normal, and yet, under the practiced smiles and hum of professionalism, something trembles, ever so slightly, like glass under pressure. No one sees Italiano. No one names it. But in the middle of that bright studio, under all the lights and laughter, the first hairline crack has appeared. The storm hasn't arrived, but it's coming. The opening question lands before the applause fades. So, another drama, huh? Strahan says, effortless grin in place, the kind that usually softens edges into harmless charm. But this time, the tone hangs oddly, half joke, half job. Crew laughter is faint. Uncertain. Denzel's smile remains professional, the one worn by men who've sat through too many interviews, who'd know when to breathe, when to let words roll past like wind. He leans slightly forward, voice calm, measured. This film's very personal to me, he begins. It's about a father and a son trying to find their way back to each other after years apart. About forgiveness. Redemption? Right, Strahan interrupts. Laugh, cutting across the space like static. So, basically another sad story. The words are small, casual, tossed carelessly, but the ripple they cause is immediate. Shoulders shift in the crew. An audience member coughs at the wrong moment. Someone flips a cue card. Denzel pauses, expression unchanged but in his eyes, a flicker. He heard it, felt it, measured it, and chose not to respond. His smile tightens, corners soft but controlled. A long breath fills the space where a laugh should have been. It's about second chances. He continues, calm, about understanding where you came from so you can move forward. Strahan leans back, nodding absently, lips curved in a smirk that doesn't reach his eyes. Unhung. Sure. Sounds deep. The YSA steep isn't praise, it's a test. The poke lands. You can feel the temperature drop. Just a fraction. The set remains bright, almost unbearably so, but somehow the room feels smaller. Denzel glances briefly toward the audience, then back at Strahan. Silence stretches between them. Just a beat too long. Art, Denzel says, voice soft but anchored, should mean something. Otherwise, why do it? Strahan chuckles under his breath, a casual tone that misses the mark, like whistling in the dark. For the first time, the legendary composure of Denzel Washington wavers not in anger, but in the faintest tightening of his jaw, the slightest narrowing of his eyes. His hand shifts on the armrest, fingers pressing lightly into the leather, a gesture nearly invisible, yet unmistakable to anyone watching closely. Behind the glass, a producer looks toward the floor manager. No one moves. The crew senses it now. The unspoken tension, the kind that doesn't explode, but settles heavy on the room like humidity. Strahan clears his throat, smile stretching wider as if more teeth could mask the discomfort. Denzel offers a polite nod, though his posture betrays what his words do not. The conversation has shifted, and yet it continues. The cameras remain steady, the lights relentless. The audience laughs when they raise supposito, though no one seems sure why. From home, you might see only a minor awkwardness. A misjoke, but in the studio, everyone feels it. The faint sting of respect bent out of shape, the subtle sound of a line crossed. The first cut didn't draw blood, but everyone knows it happened. Between forced laughter and Denzel's measured silence, the question hangs like static. How many more little cuts can he take before something gives? Strahan leans forward now, elbows on the table. His tone sharpens beneath the practiced grin. You know, Denzel, you've built a great career. No one can deny that. But don't you ever get tired of playing the same roles? The serious guy. The intense guy. Ever think about doing something unpredictable? The word unpredictable hangs in the air light as a feather, sharp as a blade. Denzel doesn't react immediately. He blinks once. Slow, deliberate. Then he answers, calm and steady. Storytelling is about connecting with people. If the story matters, it's worth telling. Strahan offers a half laugh, the practiced chuckle he uses when conversation drifts from his control. Sure. But come on, you've done a lot of the same stuff, right? Serious, emotional, meaningful. Maybe people want to see you loosen up, do something fun. Imperceptibly, the studio shifts. The lights feel hotter, harsher. The crew stops moving, eyes flicking between the two men. The hum of equipment fills the silence. Fun can be meaningful too, Denzel says quietly. But Strahan presses on, smiling, yet predatory now, like a cat toying with a bird that refuses to flinch. 40 years, doing the same kind of roles. It's impressive, but maybe your time has passed. The word past slices through the air, invisible but heavy. Laughter dies entirely. Someone shifts in their chair. A nervous cough. Berry swallowed. Even the cameras hesitate, lenses humming as if unsure where to focus. Denzel inhales slowly, deeply. You learn to breathe through insult. Let ignorance pass like weather. The mantra runs through his mind, repeated for decades. In front of cameras, silence can speak louder than fury. But Strahan misreads it for weakness. He leans back, arms crossed, smirk widening. I'm just saying what people are thinking. No need to take it so seriously. Denzel's eyes narrow, imperceptibly, but enough. That quiet grace, that measured restraint, suddenly feels like pressure, a wave building behind a wall. Every person in the studio feels it. The balance has shifted. The charm of the host has revealing something sharp beneath the surface. When the guest everyone came to admire becomes the center of something raw and real, the air changes. Denzel doesn't answer. He lets the silence sit, let it grow. The hum of the lights fills the space between them. Louder now, oppressive. The word past still lingers in the air, shattering softly like glass in slow motion. You can see it in his face. Control, patience, discipline honed over decades of knowing when to hold your fire. But behind that calm exterior, something shifts. This isn't about questions anymore. It's not about movies or generations, it's about respect. For the first time, everyone watching can feel it. This isn't playful banter. This isn't another awkward interview moment. This is the line being crossed. The audience senses it before a word is spoken. The tone, the stillness, the weight in Denzel's eyes. The storm hasn't hit yet, but you can hear the distant rumble of it rolling in. The silence stretches until it becomes a sound of its own. The hum of the lights, the faint click of a camera repositioning. Every noise feels too loud, too fragile. Strahan shifts in his seat, crossing one leg over the other, his smirk faltering for the briefest fraction of a second. Denzel hasn't moved. His stillness carries gravity, pulling the room toward it. Then, in a voice low enough to make everyone lean in, Denzel asks, "How long have you been doing this hosting thing, Michael?" The words are simple, quiet, but they cut slowly through the air. Strahan blinks, caught off guard. "I don't know. A few years, I guess." "Why?" Denzel nods once, confirming something only he seems to know. "A few years," he repeats, calm, deliberate. "And in those years, have you learned anything about respecting your guests?" The question lands softly, but it hits like a hammer. A few audience members exhale, half laugh, half gasp. Someone behind a camera tries not to smile. The shift is instant. The balance of power, once leaning toward the host, slides unmistakably toward Denzel. Strahan laughs nervously, hands raised in mock defense. "Whoa, hey, I'm just having a conversation here, man." Denzel doesn't blink. "No," he says, voice steady as glass. "You're not having a conversation. You're performing." The words hang heavy, pressing into Strahan's polished composure, stripping away the illusion. "I'm performing." Strahan echoes, forcing a laugh. "Come on, man. Don't be so sensitive. I'm just asking questions." Denzel leans forward slightly, calm, unflinching. "Asking questions." Esosi slowly, savoring the phrase. "Is that what you call it?" Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds a lot more like provocation. Strahan tries to interrupt, but Denzel keeps going. Each word sharper, cleaner, colder. "You mistake disrespect for honesty. You confuse provocation with journalism." A hush falls over the room. The control booth goes still. One producer mouths something no one hears. On camera, Strahan's practiced ease begins to crack, the smile twitching at the edges. Denzel doesn't press further. He doesn't need to. The silence does the work for him. He sits back, gaze steady, hands folded loosely in his lap. The quiet thickens, until even the air feels like it's listening. Strahan forces out a chuckle. "Man, you're making this sound worse than it is." He glances toward the crew, searching for an ally, a cue, anything to rescue him. "None Gomez." Denzel's eyes never leave him. Calm/focused, unyielding. It's the look of someone who's seen enough to know exactly what this is. The camera zooms slightly, instinctively catching the faint glimmer in Denzel's eyes. His face remains composed, but tension hums just beneath the surface, like a string pulled tight, but unbroken. He speaks again, softer now. "This isn't about being sensitive. This is about respect. You don't invite someone to talk about their work and then spend the time mocking it. That's not conversation. That's not curiosity. That's That's theater. No one moves. No one breathes. The audience is transfixed, caught in the strange electricity of a man calmly reclaiming his dignity. Strahan's jaw tightens. "All right," he says, voice low, defensive. "You've made your point. But not yet." Denzel interrupts, letting a pause stretch long enough for the weight of the moment to sink in. Then, almost kindly, he adds, "I'm not trying to make a point. I'm just not going to let you turn this into a performance at my expense." The words are final, controlled, irrefutable. Strahan exhales through his nose. His smile flickers back into place. Hollow now. The charm, the command, it's gone. Aveit, buzzes. The hum of the lights feels louder somehow. Denzel doesn't move, but everyone can feel it. Teshid. The control is his now, and he didn't have to raise his voice or break his calm to take it. Strahan forces another weak laugh. "Well. "'Kay," he mutters. "Guess I walked right into that one." Denzel nods politely, the faintest hint of a smile playing across his lips knot. Comforting, only confirming. In the silence that follows, the audience knows exactly what just happened. The tables have turned. The energy has flipped. The performer is now the subject, and the subject has become the mirror. Michael Strahan, for the first time that morning, has nothing left to say. The silence stretches, thick and heavy, impossible to ignore. Strahan shifts, grasping for something, anything, to fill it. He forces a grin that looks more like strain than charm. "Well, we can talk about the film now if you want," he offers, voice catching slightly, the words hanging in the air like a lifeline tossed too late. Denzel looks at him, calm, unreadable. "No," he says softly, shaking his head once, "because you don't care about the film." The room exhales collectively, though no sound follows. The air feels dense, heavy enough to touch. Every breath, every motion is deliberate, measured, reverent. "You've mocked my work," he continues, voice low, even almost gentle. "You've mocked my time, my relevance." He pauses, gaze unwavering. "I don't have to sit here for that." No anger, only absolute calma, quiet so complete, it makes everything else tremble. The studio holds its breath, the faint buzz of lights, the soft creak of a chair behind the cameras, even the hum of the equipment all amplified in the silence. Strahan's expression shifts from nervous amusement to alarm. He leans forward slightly, hand half raised as if to stop what's already happening. "Wait," he starts, voice cracking. "You can't just." Denzel moves. Not fast. Not dramatic. Steady. Controlled. Ariache Sap unhooks his lapel microphone with surgical precision. The small click echoes through the silent studio like a gunshot. He folds the wire neatly into his palm and places the mic on the table between them. The gesture is so deliberate it feels sacred. "Yes," Denzel says, rising to his full height. His voice doesn't rise, yet it fills every corner of the room. "Yes, I can. And I am." For a heartbeat, no one breathes. Strahan rises too, instinctively, eyes wide, somehow smaller, stripped of his usual confidence. "Denzel, come on," he says quickly, a nervous laugh escaping him. "Don't do this. Where live." Denzel's gaze remains steady, resolute, but not unkind. "Then I guess you'll have to figure out how to fill the time." The words land like judgment. A camera operator lowers his rig, uncertain. The audience in the back row sits frozen, caught between disbelief and awe. The set, so bright and busy minutes ago, now feels like a still photograph. Denzel takes a measured step back. His shadow stretches long across the glossy floor. The lights catch the edges of his face sharp, calm, unyielding. He turns toward the main camera, not for performance, but for closure. "This is an anger," his presence says without words. "This is boundary." Strahan tries again, panic now, audible. "Look, man, if I came across wrong, I apologize. Let's just start over, okay? Denzel stops, looks at him. No, he says quietly, because an apology meant to save face isn't an apology. It's damage control, and I'm not here to help you control this damage. Each word lands cold. Final. Come on, Strahan insists weakly, searching for anything. You're making me look bad. Denzel almost smiles a smile that carries truth, not warmth. No, you did that yourself. I'm just refusing to help you cover it up. He turns, and for a heartbeat, everything stops. Cameras, crew, even the blinking red lights on the control panel. The only sound that follows is the quiet slide of a chair being pushed back, the soft shuffle of shoes on the studio floor. The mic cable brushes the table, a faint metallic clink echoing through the silence. Every eye follows him. Every breath is caught. Strahan stares, mouth slightly open, waiting for words that won't come. His hand lifts halfway, then drops. Denzel reaches the edge of the set. The studio lights halo around him, outlining his silhouette like a closing scene in a film. He turns his head just enough to meet Strahan's eyes. This, he seems to say without words, is the consequence. Strahan's face drains of color. Consequence, he repeats, barely audible. Denzel, not. You can't treat people poorly and expect them to sit here and take it. Not everyone plays along with your game. No malice, only truth, cold, clean, inescapable. For a second, Strahan looks like he might speak, but the sound dies in his throat. All that remains is raw silence. The silence of a man realizing, too late, that the cameras never stop recording. Denzel glances toward the nearest crew member. Their eyes meet, respect and understanding passing between them. The crew member steps aside, clearing the path. As Denzel walks away, each step is deliberate, unhurried. The room grows heavier with every footfall, thick with something between shame and admiration. He doesn't look back. He doesn't need to. Behind him, the dropped microphone echoes. Once metallic, final. The lights still blaze, but somehow they feel colder now. Strahan stands frozen, hands at his sides, the host of a show that suddenly doesn't belong to him anymore. No one moves. The silence is total. Denzel Washington leaves the frame as he entered it. Head high, shoulders straight, dignity intact. He doesn't storm out. He doesn't shout. He simply exits, leaving the weight of his absence lingering in the air like smoke after a fire. And as the cameras keep rolling, all that remains is the faint hum of the lights, the echo of a fallen microphone, and the undeniable truth: respect, once lost, cannot be edited out. For a long moment, no one moves. The door Denzel walked through swings, once, twice, then settles. The sound of it closing is the only thing alive in the room. Strahan remains frozen, mid-frame, hand half extended, palm open. Toward nothing. The cameras keep rolling, capturing everything. But he's not looking at them anymore. His eyes rest on the empty chair across from him, the one Denzel just vacated. The microphone on the table still glows red, its tiny light blinking like a heartbeat that refuses to stop. The seat itself seems to hold the echo of his presence. A producer behind the glass starts to move, then freezes. Another crew member glances toward the control room, silently asking if they should cut to commercial. No one gives the signal. They're all paralyzed, stunned by the gravity what just happened. The studio lights, once warm and inviting, now feel harsh, almost intrusive. They cast long shadows across the floor, reaching toward that empty chair as if trying to grasp something already gone.